Imagine you are living the same day again and again, eventually to be killed by someone you don't even know. Hey guys, this is No Brainer and I'm gonna explain a horror thriller movie called Happy Death Day. Subscribe and like this video for more videos like this, and watch out for spoilers ahead. The film opens as the bell tolls at Bayfield University on Monday the 18th. Teresa Tree Gelbman wakes up confused and hungover on her birthday in the dorm room of schoolmate Carter Davis. She ignores a phone call from her father. As she was getting dressed, she asks for Tylenol because her head was killing her. Carter begins to find Tylenol and found it under his clothes. As Tree starts to head out, Carter's roommate Ryan shows up saying, "Did you hit that vagina?" making the environment disgusting. She left and Carter tells his friend a dickhead. On her way to her own room, she sees a guy with googles looking at her. Then a girl approaches to her asking for global warming issues. Then she sees a couple kissing in the garden as the sprinkler goes off. Then she hears a siren ringing from distant. Then she sees a baseball player unconsciously falling in the ground. Then Tree runs into a guy she went out with named Tim. He asks Tree why she hasn't answered his texts, and she says because their one date involved them going to Subway and it made her miserable. While entering the house, a girl hays her, but she ignores her and enters silently into the house when Danielle catches her and asks questions about with whom she was sleeping yesterday. Tree goes to her room and sees her roommate Lori. Tree realizes she is late for class and frantically gets ready. Lori then presents her with a cupcake she baked for Tree. Tree blows out the candle and dumps the cupcake in the trash because of the carbs. Tree goes to her class and later meets with her professor, Gregory. The two are having an affair despite Gregory being married. They start kissing, but they hears a knock on the door. His wife Stephanie is at the door after Tree kept it budged. She leaves, not making the scene awkward. Tree joins her sorority sisters during lunch for a meeting regarding a spring dance. The head sister, Danielle, chastises another sister, Becky, for bringing junk food to eat. Becky gets up to leave and bumps into Carter, causing Becky to spill her food all over Tree. Carter tries to return Tree some jewelry she left behind, but Tree pulls him aside to keep hiding the fact that she slept in his room. Later that evening, Danielle walks in wearing Tree's clothes and asks her if she was coming to the party. At the same time, light went off for few seconds and comes back in. Tree heads through the campus alone and passes a group of guys wearing the school's sports team merchandise, one of them looking at her constantly. As she heads past a bridge, she hears the sound of a music box. Tree goes over to pick up the box and sees someone with a baby mask standing a few feet in front of her. She threatens to call the cops, and the person runs. When Tree starts to leave, the toy starts ringing again and the same guy jumps over her and tried to kill her, but he misses and Tree starts running for her life. The man chases Tree and then eventually catches her and stabs her to death. Tree wakes up in Carter's room at the beginning of the same day. Everything happens in the same order as it happened before. Clearly freaked out and confused, she leaves the room and thinks she is going through déjà vu. In her way to her room, everything happened exactly the way it happened before. When she met Tim, she asked about the date and he replied it was 18th. Confused, she head towards her room. She goes to her room and once again rejects Lori's cupcake, but this time just leaves it instead of dumping it. During lunch, Tree warns Becky before Carter bumps into her, but the same things still happen. When Danielle wore the same dress, the light went out exactly at the same time. Tree heads over to the party again, the same group of people passes again and the guy with the mask on was watching her and leaves as his friend calls out his name. When she reaches the bridge, she saw the same toy and leaves. She goes to the dorm and is greeted by someone with the baby mask, causing her to scream and punch the person in the face. It turns out to be Nick, Danielle's boyfriend. It's a surprise party for Tree. She goes around drinking and trying to enjoy herself. Nick was hitting on Tree in front of Danielle and tells her to meet him upstairs. Seeing this, Danielle angrily leaves her alone. She goes up to Nick's room where he messes around with the mask for a bit. He plays a loud music when Tree receives a message from Danielle that if she is with Nick right now. In the background, the real killer shows up from the closet and stabs Nick to death. She looks back and tells Nick to get over with his joke, but she realizes he was the real killer and she tries to run away. But the killer takes her out by a broken bong piece. Tree wakes up in Carter's room again. She's even more freaked out this time. She runs to her room and tells Lori that someone is after her. Lori calms her down and suggests she take the day off and relax in her room. At night, Tree avoids the party and locks her up in the room and puts up boards to prevent anyone from getting in. Later that night, when she was watching TV, the TV shuts off by itself, so Shay suspiciously checks the room, but the killer breaks in anyway. Tree fights the killer off but is still stabbed to death. After going through the same things again, Tree explains her situation to Carter, who is understandably confused. He suggests that she narrow down her list of suspects until she can find out who the killer is. Carter thinks the killer may be specifically targeting Tree on her birthday, which means everyone at school is a suspect since Danielle told everyone about the surprise party. Tree goes through several loops as she goes after her suspects. She first goes after Tim, but catches him in his room looking at gay porn. After dying again, she suspects Stephanie, but she spots Stephanie moments before the killer drowns her. She suspects Danielle but ends up dying on her own after the two get into a fight and they get hit by a bus. This time when she wakes up, she feels a bit dizzy and says to Carter that his plan sucks. When she was leaving due to her dizziness, she fell in Carter's arm and become unconscious. She wakes up in an hospital bed when she sees the man with the same mask walks in, but eventually she was hallucinating and it was Carter coming to check on her. The light went out as usually, and when the light came back, Gregory was standing behind Carter and tells him to leave as visiting hours are over. He explains her X-ray that she has sustained internal damage which occurred from her previous deaths. Gregory tells her that she should be dead by now due to those scars. When she tries to get up, Gregory tells her that she cannot leave as she is in observance. She tells him that she needs a soda. When he leaves to get her a soda, she gets up and leaves. She goes to Gregory's office to find his car keys. While going through Gregory's office, Tree finds a baby mask in his drawer. She deduces that he is the killer and comes out of the room carefully. She finds Gregory, however. The killer stabs him and then chases Tree into the parking lot. She takes a car and gets out. As she excitedly thinks she escaped death, a cop pulls her over for speeding. Tree lies and says she's drunk and high so that she can be in a cell and avoid the killer. When she's cuffed and put in the back of the car, the killer drives past and hits the cop. The killer comes near the police car to kill her. She screams at the killer and says why he is doing this with her. He leaves and lights up a birthday candle and drops it in the gas which was leaking from the car, blowing it up. Tree wakes up in Carter's room yet again. This time she herself takes the Tylenol. Carter tells her that if she's here before. This time she is charmed up and acts differently. Carter asks her why she was screaming in her dream. She says it's a long story, but she has no time to tell him, so she leaves. Carter follows her as he wants to know her story, but she refuses and said that last time when she told him it didn't help her in any way. Carter, acting confused, asks her he wants to help, so she said him to help him figure out why she is living the same day over and over only to be murdered by someone she doesn't know about. Carter doesn't believe that she is living the same day again and again, so she proves she knows what's going to happen by pointing out some things that she's been noticing frequently: sprinklers being set off on studying students, and a group of activists standing together while one member drops to the ground. Carter takes Tree to the nearby burger place as she is now getting weaker with each new loop. She's getting worried that she may be running out of lives. Tree mentions avoiding her dad's phone calls and tells Carter that her mom passed away 3 years earlier. Moments later, they then see a news report on TV about a serial killer named Joseph Toombs, who is notorious for going after young women. Tree and Carter run to the hospital to stop Toombs, but he has already killed the security guard and escaped. Tree grabs a fire axe and enters the room. Toombs was standing behind her and shoots at her but missed. Tree starts running away and Toombs caught her near the elevators. Carter protects Tree, but Toombs snaps his neck. Tree manages to incapacitate Toombs, but realizes that if she succeeds in stopping the loops, Carter will stay dead. She runs to the top of the bell tower before Toombs can catch her, and she hangs herself, promising to find Toombs soon. Tree starts the new loop with more positive energy. She greets Carter warmly, warns the students about the sprinklers. When Tim approaches her, she kindly tells him she knows he doesn't like girls and that he should be free to love who he really wants. She is friendly to Lori when she goes to her room. Tree goes to Gregory's class and interrupts his lecture to pull him out and tell him she is breaking things off between them, and that she's dropped his class. During the lunch meeting, Tree shows up with a tray full of junk food and proudly scarfs it down. Although Danielle tries to send Becky away, Tree doesn't let her leave, and instead takes Becky's chocolate milk to pour on Danielle's head, humiliating her. Carter then comes by to return Tree's jewelry, and she kisses him in front of the other sisters. She then invites Carter to join her later that night for her birthday. Tree goes to have lunch with her dad David. She admits to him that it's been hard to be around him since her mother died, but she says she loves him and is sorry for hurting him. The two then laugh to lighten the mood and they have lunch. Tree prepares herself to go after Toombs. She goes up to the security guard with a knife and takes his gun before telling him to go get backup. Tree then walks into Toombs' room and aims the gun at him as he pretends to be asleep. She tries to shoot him but she forgot to take the safety off. Toombs gets up and fights Tree, brutally slamming her against the wall. Tree then remembers that a brief blackout is supposed to occur, which happens at the right moment for her to escape Toombs' line of sight. She appears behind him and takes the safety off, allowing her to shoot Toombs dead. Tree and Carter spend the rest of the night together, and she eats the cupcake Lori made her after she blows it out and makes a wish to see tomorrow again. Tree wakes up once more in Carter's room. The birthday ringtone plays. It's still Monday the 18th. She becomes confused and angry, wondering how she could still be stuck in the loop. She runs to her room to find Lori, who offers her the cupcake again. Tree declines it and says she ate it the night before, and then it hits her. She died in her sleep, which is because the cupcake was poisoned all along. She never ate the cupcake any time before, so she realizes Lori was the killer the whole time. Since she works at the hospital, Lori was able to set Toombs loose and make it look like he killed Tree due to his history. To drive the point home even further, Tree finds the baby mask in Lori's desk. Lori denies it, saying she is just talking rubbish and she would never poison her. So Tree tells Lori to eat the cupcake and even threatens to bring it to the police. Lori comes clean and says this was all because she liked Gregory but he was into Tree, which Tree thinks is a stupid motive, as well as Lori saying Tree's a dumb bitch. The two start fighting as Lori tries to finish Tree off for good. They are interrupted by Danielle from outside the room as Lori has Tree pinned to the bed, but Tree manages to grab the cupcake and shove it in Lori's mouth. Tree then jumps up and grabs the ceiling lamp so she can kick Lori out the window to her death. Tree and Carter are in a diner watching the news report on the incident, with Danielle doing an interview just for the publicity. Carter starts to tell Tree that her situation reminds him of Groundhog Day, but she's never heard of it or Bill Murray. Carter tells Tree as her room is a crime scene now, so she should come to his room to live with him. She agrees. Tree wakes up and hears the birthday ringtone again. Carter acts like she's just waking up hungover again. Tree starts to freak out, until Carter reveals he was just pranking her and it's officially Tuesday the 19th. They laugh about it and kick Ryan out when he tries to come back inside before they start kissing. Thanks you guys for watching.